American Pavilion is a reversal of years, maybe decades, of declining and opaque pavilions. And the first thing we wanted to do is to reverse this notion of Fortress America, this notion of a kind of closed, opaque, linear sort of a pavilion, and create a much more open, transparent, accessible, mobile experience that can be instantly understood and has a sense of kind of invitation that some of the other pavilions may not have had.
Well, the most important message for us, for understanding of Russian pavilion, was to try to connect the traditions of Russian pavilions of 20th century, of presenting our country in the World Expos, connect with the traditions of folk Russian wooden architecture. So like to make a symbol of national tradition, of Expo presence and traditional architecture.
For me, the message I want to deliver through my architecture to the public is, as a designer of this pavilion and also as one of the young Chinese architects. So I want to express the understanding for me about the new China. So for everyone has their own imagination and has their own impression of China. So for me, the China means truthful, non-affectation, and magnificent of traditional cultures.
One of the important messages that I wanted to convey with this pavilion was to integrate art and architecture and science so it would become greater than the sum of its parts. I've been working with some amazing architects, BDP, the structure engineers, Tristan Simmons, and what I wanted to do was create an immersive experience. So rather than having a piece of sculpture or a piece of architecture in a landscape, the whole thing was integrated. That was really important to me. What I wanted to achieve was to create a journey, because I believe that one can convey messages through experience and through feelings rather than lectured at. So I was keen that one would sort of start in the pavilion and at the end of the journey one would feel something different. So yeah, the most important thing about the architecture was the integration. I also wanted the whole experience to be quite quiet and quite calm. There's a lot of pavilions there which are quite bold, quite striking, and what I wanted my pavilion to be was perhaps the antithesis to this. There are a lot of inherent challenges and contradictions and ironies, I think, with the Expo itself, that it only lasts for 6 months. There's so much energy gets expended on this, so much time, so much effort, so much money, and with the actual theme itself of feeding the planet, a very laudable theme, but it's how an artist, how one can feel comfortable with working with this. So I wanted my pavilion to be quiet, to be as sustainable as possible. So the materials that we chose to use, they haven't been processed. The aluminium is raw, the steel, corten, naturally patinates. 80% of the pavilion is planting or trees, which can all be recycled or reused. The hive itself, which is the centrepiece, I suppose, of the pavilion, at the end of the journey, is going to be relocated back in the UK. So it was really important to me that the pavilion would have an impact. It would say a lot, but also it could be reused. It would have a legacy for the future. It wouldn't just remain within the 6 months and then disappear like a ghost.
It's a simple and very big message, which is that we are connected with our environment and there are ways to tackle with issues such as climate change and shortening of resources. And our pavilion is trying to unfold a narrative to explain to people that they can get involved and actually how they are already involved in these issues.
We tried to do something very simple, very tranquil, not a very overwhelming architecture, something that translates the simplicity of our way of visionary the architecture.
Well, we want to be a piece of architecture on one hand, and on the other hand, we want to express the silence. We want to be out of the noise of the star system.
We try to express with this pavilion the combination between technology we can develop in Romania, technology regarding the software, for example, or computers, a new technology and the tradition, because Romania has a great potential regarding the bio-agriculture. Despite the pressure generally for an intensive and agriculture with big quantities of products, in Romania now it's current regarding the bio-agriculture. And we tried to express this harmony between the two parts of these issues, technology, urban living, and nature and wild. Because I don't know if you know this, in Romania there are half of wild animals in Europe. And this is another important issue. In Romania, for example, it's Danube Delta, an important, a very important area where are animals and plants very rare. And also it's a young lander, and by fortune I am designing a house for some people there, and they product a lot of bio-agriculture. This is very encouraged us to transmit this, let's say, harmony between new technology and nature.
I think the message with the pavilion is really also about the whole Expo. It's a wonderful process of bringing different nationalities, different people together, and letting them all interact in one place. And it gives a glimpse of the rest of the world, a kind of Marco Polo experience. I think with our pavilion, what we wanted to try and do was give an impression of what it was like to be in the United Arab Emirates. The actual presentation in the center, which is a performance, does very well, as you'll all see when it finally opens. But the process of getting there and moving through the fabric of the pavilion really in some way should give a hint, an impression of what it's like to be there.
A very simple one. It was just probably the right balance between the goals of the communication objectives of Spain, of our client, and the resources used for that. So it was a basic exercise of restraint.
First of all, the Italian pavilion is the only pavilion in Expo 2015 that will remain after Expo. So we have to project something that have this dimension that come from the past but go towards the future, because we have to express the future of Italian architecture and the future of this part of Milano. Second, we want to try to make something that is, right, a building, but also part of the landscape, a sort of natural architecture, urban forests that come from the ground, take the energy from the ground, but after give the energy to the environment with the covering, the glass covering, with the photovoltaic technology that produce all the energy that the project and the pavilion needed.
With the pavilions architecture, the main message that we set up to communicate was Angola's theme for this expo, which is food and culture, education for innovation.
The idea behind the German pavilion is fields of ideas. So the idea is to create a pavilion that is a big plaza, a big place to meet, and all the ideas from Germany we are bringing to the people are presented on this big plaza. And actually there are two exhibitions, an outside exhibition and an inside exhibition.